hello. I'm back, everyone. Again, I'm Melissa Mitchell with ABO Creations, and this topic is something I hold very near and dear to myself also. We're talking about building a legacy. How do you protect your purpose and make it profitable? I have some amazing panelists and a moderator coming up. Lyndsae is going to moderate some amazing human beings, Marcus and Tonya. So let's bring them up and see what they have to talk about today. All righty.
She's going to introduce us. Go up. Hello. Should we go and sit? What do you want us to do?
Y'all hear me?
Okay.
Can y'all hear me? How many legacy builders are in the room today? I need to see everybody's hand, a toe, a leg, if you can raise that too. We are so excited for today's conversation. We have two amazing panelists who will be joining us. We're going to bring to the stage Miss Tonya Rutherford. She is a legacy and relationship strategist, advisor, coach, and speaker. She is trusted by entrepreneurs and career professionals to help them build meaningful strategic relationships and create purpose-driven legacies. Welcome, Ms. Tonya, to the stage.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Marcus Johnson. He is a Billboard charting jazz pianist, entertainment attorney, entrepreneur, and lifestyle brand creator. He is a JD MBA graduate of Georgetown University Law Center and the McDonough School of Business. Marcus is also a two-time funded founder and an NAACP Image Award nominee. Please give both of our panelists a round of applause. So today we are talking about legacy, purpose, and profit in practice. Oftentimes when we hear the word legacy, we're thinking that thing that we're leaving behind when we close our eyes. But today we are challenging that concept with thinking about building the legacy as we do the work today. Now, my first question is for you, Miss Tonya. Hello, and welcome. I love this dress, first of all. Ms. Tonya, your living legacy framework challenges the traditional idea that legacy is something reserved for the end of our lives. Tell us, what are people getting wrong about legacy, and why does recognizing that what we're creating in every day challenge the way that we build and lead?
Thank you so much for that question. So in my living legacy framework, I acknowledge that there are 4 types of legacy. There is the inherited legacy that we get from our families, from our culture. There is a collective legacy, what we are building with other people. And then there's your personal legacy. How are you showing up in the world? And then finally, there's your chosen legacy. What do you want to impart to the world? And the reason that I created this framework was because I thought that people were really, really getting it wrong. Just as you said, they were thinking about death. They were thinking about funerals. They were thinking about, something at the end of life. However, we are also indoctrinated to think about legacy from a very Eurocentric perspective. And that is that legacy is just wealth and whatever you're passing on materially. The problem with that is that leaves too many of us out of the conversation. And so that's what people were getting wrong, that they were thinking just about wealth, just about status, and all of those things, that's important. But legacy is also in your grandmother's recipes. Legacy is in that 60 years of family reunions that y'all go to that carry on our stories. That is what legacy is as well. And what I want people to do, to your second question, is you are creating a legacy whether you are being intentional about it or not. And so I challenge everyone to actually sit down, to think about it, and be very intentional about the legacy that you are leaving and creating.
I love that because it really helps us to shift the idea from legacy being a destination to actually a daily practice. You all hear that? So Marcus, I want to shift to you just a bit. Now, your career has crossed multiple avenues from music to business, the law, entertainment, entrepreneurship, and technology. So tell us a little bit, when you look back, what's one expectation or definition of success that you intentionally chose not to carry forward, and how did that decision create space for the life and business you have today?
My parents were entrepreneurs, so I was born into an entrepreneurial family. However, it still dealt with the societal norms of go to school, get an education, get a job, and go work for someone. And that is what I left behind a long time ago. I had my own business when I was 13 washing cars. I had Marcus's lawn care service. I mean, whatever I was doing, it had MJ on it. And so from there, it was just going on in the next step and the next step. And then understanding that your success in your life is the thing that you wake up with every day. The thing that allows you to smile at yourself when you get up and wink at yourself and be the first person to wink at yourself every day. Because if you're not, nobody can do that for you. Nobody can love you more than you love yourself. Nobody can get out there and work harder than you for yourself. And then the last part of it was I learned early, spending a lot of time just daydreaming, understanding that, look, you have to do whatever makes you smile between the time when you close your eyes and when you go to sleep, because that is when you are dealing with you. And if you let go of all that other stuff, you can still get the education, you can still learn how to play music, you can still understand how to put together a pro forma and a business plan, and you can still go out there and do it for your daggone self. That's what I let go of. I don't need no offense to somebody that has a job, right? But I figured that I don't want to be like Mike. I want to be like the person that pays Mike, right? I want to be that person on that side of the desk.
I love that. And I think what you shared was that the idea of choosing what to carry, what to release, really helps us to give permission to be able to reshape our mindset. Because a lot of times we feel like we just have to walk in the path that we saw, that we've been exposed to. But as we are all legacy builders out here, we can pick and choose what we want to create. And if we haven't seen the path being created, guess what? We start a new path for ourselves. Now, this question is for the both of you. So both of your journeys have been shaped by people, communities, and experiences that ultimately came before you. What and how have those legacies that you've inherited from family, mentors, or even community members, how have they influenced the way that you lead today?
So my family, my grandparents and their and my parents and my mother's siblings and my father's siblings as well, really have created a legacy of support for one another. And my grandparents, they raised 5 kids, and they were still allowing their nieces and nephews to stay with them. And so it's very much a legacy of community and a legacy of support. And I found myself just naturally doing that because that's what I saw. You know, I created, in the 4th grade, I was creating community with people saying, hey, we need to learn our Black history, you know, and then I created a Black student union. And so it was just constantly, you know, being connected to community. And so that's what I got from my folks. I think that you also suggested that there are, and you and Marcus both suggested it, that there are legacies that we want to carry forward, but there are also legacies that we want to leave behind, right? We want to lay those down. And for me, that was really not being able to show that I was sad about something or scared about something, because my grandmother, she didn't get permission to be able to show that she was sad or scared. She only was given permission to show that she was mad or that she had power. And so that's how I started showing up. That's what I saw. And what I realized was that was something that I need to lay down. It got us to where we needed to be, and I know that it served a purpose. However, I don't need to carry that anymore.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, both of my parents are also mental health professionals. So going through the therapy journey that I had to go through in different points of my life, there was the Marcus that got me through being an FSOW, which is former slave of Willa. And by the way, my mother's name is Willa, which is why I left that water back there on the table and didn't bring it out here, right? So there's these things where I come from a family where my mom did not spare the rod. I definitely didn't. But I have 5 brothers and sisters. We're all doctors and lawyers and successful in what we do. But what I needed as a child to get through that at 14, when I didn't understand a mom that was unable to give me the emotional support that I needed and the hugs that I needed, those are the things that help. I was blessed with a father who was like, son, you need to give your mom a break. She's just trying to make it in the world. And he gave me the compassion to say, like, okay, and the idea that I can do this completely on my own and my own way. And coming from East St. Louis, Illinois, and if you don't know where that is, It's the hood. My dad came from y'all see the smiles out there. My dad's from East St. Louis, and to be able to have a PhD at 26, you know, and I was born at Ohio State in the 70s when he was a professor there. Think about that at the age of 30. I knew everything was possible. And that set me up to be able to say, like, look, I'll leave this behind, but I'm gonna lead by example. And not what you all say to me, right? Marcus, you shouldn't be in music, and getting in arguments with them. But at the end of the day, when I got the law degree in the MBA and had 2 CDs out, when he said, son, I'm so glad you didn't listen to me. I said, but Dad, I didn't listen to those words you said. I watched what you did. That was amazing.
Because guess what? People do watch what we say, even when they don't listen. People watch what we do, even if they don't listen to what we say. That's why we have to be so mindful in how we move and how we operate in everyday life, because people are watching, and not just in our families, our community members, our ecosystem partners, the people that we engage with every single day. So Marcus, I just want to stay with you for a moment. So we know that technology is ultimately changing the way that we do everything in life, how we do business, how we carry our professional careers. Rather than just simply making us more productive, you've spoken about technology in a very different capacity and how we create more presence. My question for you is, how can entrepreneurs and everyone else who's in this audience, how can they use technology very intentionally to make sure that they're creating space for the people, relationships, and experiences that are ultimately becoming their legacy?
Absolutely. So with artificial intelligence, whether it's a Claude or a Perplexity or a Gemini or a ChatGPT, if you look at your destination, as we're talking about, and what you want, and you look at your most important receipt that you have in your life, which is your calendar, you can say, here's the places where I need to be. You can use AI to set up the times where, hey, look, I need you to send this email versus me, right? I need you to go through my LinkedIn, or I need you to go through my bank statements and find out where I can save money so you can buy some of your things back. And then the whole idea of actually buying your time back, AI allows you to do that when you're talking into even a Google Assistant. Hey, can you schedule this meeting for me? Hey, can you remind me about this email? Hey, can you remind me to go to bed? And this is one of my best friends, and we always laugh at 10 o'clock p.m. every night when my alarm goes off, because it says, take your behind to bed. That is me getting my time back, getting my energy back so that I can wake up ready to go the next morning. Don't let this stuff think that all you're using this for is the material productivity. This allows you to get things off your plate, and I see it. My daughter's 14, and I see it when I close my books and things are still going out and emails are still being sent, and we get to watch her favorite show on the couch. She's like, Dad, I'm so glad that we watched this before I came here, a couple of days ago. That is what we're seeding into the future, and that is also going to the point of legacy, because my daughter gets to see my dad is sitting here holding my hand as we're watching this movie, and I know how busy he is. How did he do that? And I tell her, these are the things that you can do to use this to leverage your time and buy your time back.
But see, one thing that I also don't want anybody to miss is that you've built a discipline, right? You are very disciplined in how you move, the work that you do, and how you allow technology to help shape the disciplines that you have. And we all have a lot of technology literally at our fingertips to be able to do the same thing, but it's about, what do we value? It's about, what are we seeing as our purpose? What is the legacy that we're ultimately trying to create? And now being able to implement the tools that we didn't really have 20 and 30 years ago to be able to do that.
And Lyndsae, I'll go back to what I say. Whenever I teach, the first thing I do, I teach at Howard University, and I teach business development and entertainment law. The first thing I ask my students to do is tell me what you value. And they write it down. I value my family, I value my time, I value this. And then the next thing I ask them to do is look at your calendar. And I want you to tell me, in your calendar, I need you to prove to me that everything you just said is the truth. And invariably, the whole class is like, ooh. And that's where you can go in, look at your calendar, which is just another spreadsheet, and say, how can I get more time for these things that I value? And use it as a tool, not a crutch.
Listen, it sounds like we all have growth work to do after we leave here, okay? So I need to make sure that you take your notes, and we all need to have a come to Jesus moment with ourselves to reset and to recenter and to really think about, where are we putting our time and our energy and our resources, and does it align with the vision and the values that we're ultimately trying to create for ourselves? Thank you for that, Marcus. And I joke with him because Marcus likes to golf, and I'm like, that's one of your office spaces. But he's built the disciplines to be able to be successful and intentional and to be able to do the things that he enjoyed with that. Tonya, I saw you about to come in.
What I wanted to say is that Lyndsae talked about you writing something down. You all have a piece of paper right there that you guys can write down the questions that we asked you. Like, what are you building from a collective perspective? What organizations exist that you are contributing to? What's your personal legacy? So we not only invite you, we strongly encourage you to fill that out and to connect with us as well if you have any things that you want to talk about.
So this last question is for the both of you. I want you to think about and to really share with the audience, how have you stayed aligned in those values that you've created to also help make very necessary decisions to build something sustainable?
Wow. So I think it's, for me, recognizing that the most important thing that I can bring to any community, to any conversation, is my authentic self. And the way that I do that is that I invest in me. I have to invest in me. I have to invest in my mindset. I have to invest in how I present myself. I have to invest in what I learn. And I'm not necessarily talking about degrees here, but I'm saying that I invest in myself by having a therapist. I invest in myself by making sure that I have a trainer. I invest in myself by having my coach Nick back there who's taking videos right now. All of these things are important. And I also invest in myself by having a personal board of directors. On my personal board of directors, we have to have all of those things. So that's how I stay aligned. I stay aligned because I am constantly being intentional, and I spend the time that is necessary just with myself, right? I am definitely an extrovert. You can't imagine that. I'm an extrovert, but I have to also take that time to just sit with me and invest in me and give back to myself.
I need to be a little more linear than that. Sometimes I'm not as creative, so I have lists that I use, right? And I have models. I believe anybody with a passion and a model can work. So in my book, I talk about the idea of deeper. Dream, engage, environment, plan, execute, reflect. And when you do that, you have a dream that's yours, you're engaged in it. We'll sign an engagement letter with an attorney, right? But we won't sign a letter with ourselves. We don't have fertile environments around us where we plant our seeds that, continue to grow, eradicate people that are negative, promote people that are positive. We don't have written plans, so that when it gets cloudy and you get lost, you can get back focused. We go out and do things. We'll get deep, D-E-E-P-E, but the real wisdom comes in the reflection and spending time in it. And literally, I find out where I am in a particular day. I have my Monday things that I do. I have my Thursday things that I do. And again, I'll even use my AI to be like, here's what I'm feeling today. In my mindset, can you help me, or with my life model and going deeper, where am I right now? Because I'm a little lost. And then you have your personal board of directors and friends, those fertile environment folk that help get you back together. And they tell you the truth. This is where you're messing up, and here's why. Or here's where you're doing great, and that's why. And then it's cyclical. It goes in a circle. Life is not from here to here. Life is from here to here. And you go and you just keep right on flying. But when you have that model with your passion, everything is possible.
Yeah, you know what? Marcus just reminded me of some things that we were talking about yesterday in the circle, which is that, and I have to say this as a relationship coach, because we have people who are in our circle, and we have to make sure that we have the right people in our circle, in our network, for the season that we are in. And so it's really important that we advised someone yesterday, one of the founders, and what we realized was that she was getting great opportunities, but what wasn't happening for her was that she didn't necessarily have the advisors that could help her get to the next level. So I just want to remind everyone that we got to be really intentional about who we have in our lives, and we have to be really intentional about making sure that we have the right people for the right season. So that's just really important, and I want to leave you with that.
Right people, right season, right? Make sure that you understand that you are worth the investment. You are worth the investment. Know that your legacy is now. Those are 3 things that I hope that you all can walk away with in 15 seconds. Please tell the audience, how can they keep up with you all and follow all of the greatness and the balance you all are putting in the world?
All right, so you all have a piece of paper, and at the bottom you have a QR code. You can learn about my Living Legacy networking circles. You can book time with me. There's also posters in the back. I would love to work with you, help you to build the relationships that create your living legacy.
Same thing, my QR code is there. You can find out about our Flow products, doing things for the love of, my music, the wine brand that I own, and just also what this amazing Lyndsae is doing with her company as well, an organization, funding our ideas. This together, Power Pack. I look forward to talking to you, and thanks for flowing with us.
Thank you all so much for being here. You can also follow me on Instagram at The Kingdom Wealth Connector. Have an amazing rest of your Essence Fest, and be intentional in investing in yourself.
Thank you, Lyndsae.
Everything about you, from your nappy curls to every single curve, your body natural. Same skin that was broken, be the same skin taking over. Most things out of focus.